Hi, Year 10, so we're going to look at some key algebra skills that might come up at the end of your exams. We're going to look at simultaneous equations, we're going to look at rearranging formula, and we're going to look at something called the nth term, so that's finding a formula. Alright, we're going to start down here with the nth term. The nth term is usually a follow-up question to what's the next term in a sequence. So if we look at this sequence, you can see that we are adding 6 to each term. So to get the next term, we would just add 6 to 45, and that would be 51. So that's hopefully pretty straightforward. The nth term is based off this number. If this number is 6, which is in this case, that means I have to multiply by 6 somewhere in the nth term. Nth term is the formula. So it's going to be 6 times n. N will always be in the formula. So 6 times n will give me, well, these are my first 4 terms in the sequence. 6 times 1 here gives 6. 6 times 2 gives 12. 6 times 3 gives 18. So these are numbers if I multiply by 6. How far is each of these off what answer we have here? How far away? Well, 18, 39 take away 18 will give me 21. 33 take away 12 will give me 21. 27 take away 6 will give me 21. So if I add 21, that will give me the formula or the nth term for this sequence. 6 times n plus 21. Now I can test it out. Does it work for the 4th term? Always test. So 6 times 4 plus 21. 6 times 4, that gives 24. Plus 21 gives 45, and that's what we want. So that did work. So this is my nth term. So recap. To get an nth term, look at the jumps. Whatever that jump is going to be in the formula. 6 times, or 5 times, 4 times, whatever it is, times n, it's always n. And then you're going to have to add or subtract a number. Now this one was difficult because the number is quite large, but you saw how I did it. I just multiplied by 6, 1, 2, 3, and then saw how far each of them was away, and they're all the same distance away. And that's what I add. Sometimes it's subtract, usually it's add. Okay, so that is the nth term of our formula. Changing the subject of a formula, or getting the subject of a formula, in this case, I want to get x as the subject. In other words, I want to answer it for x. X equals. I have a t as well here, which is also a variable, and then it needs to be on the other side. So it's going to be x equals a lot of something plus with t in it. Okay. So in other words, I want this and so on. So we did something similar to this when we were doing the coordinate geometry. We wanted to rearrange an equation of a line. So I want that t to be on this side of equals. So I subtract t, 3 t's, from both sides of the equals. I draw a line underneath. That 3t is gone. I'm left with negative 2x equals negative 3t plus that 7. That's a plus 7. Still there on the right hand side of the equals. Now I want x equals. So I don't want minus 2x equals. So I have to divide by minus 2. Everything. I can leave it like that on this side, and that goes into that. So x equals, or you can divide them separately, and that's fine. So this is my final answer. So it's just manipulation of algebra. It's just moving stuff to the side you want it on, whatever letter they ask for. It's usually x, it could be t, it could be y, it could be any letter. And then just isolating it by moving everything else to the other side and letting that variable equal everything else. But it has to be the variable on its own. It can't have a number in front of it. Right? Lastly, we look at simultaneous equations. Two unknowns, always x and y, that must be solved together simultaneously.
So in order to do this, we use something called an elimination method, where we look at this first and second equation and we try and cancel out either the x's or y's. Hopefully you remember this. How do I get the x's and y's to cancel out? Well, they don't cancel out at the moment, because if I were to add or subtract down, I get 3x, 5x, that gives 8x's, and 2y, take away 3y, that gives it negative y. So I want something there to cancel. So I'm going to draw a line underneath this. I'm going to restart. How do I get something to cancel? Well, I'm looking at these y's. If I multiply this y by 3, I get 6y. And this y by 2, I get minus 6y. And they'd cancel each other out. That'd be no y's if I were to add. So that's what I'm going to do. This is the first one. This is the second. I'm going to multiply that first line. I'm going to multiply it by 3. 9x, multiply everything by 3. Plus 6y plus 21. So all terms have been multiplied by 3. Now I'm going to do this, something similar to the second one, but I'm going to multiply it by 2. And you'll see why I picked 3 and 2 in a second. 2 times that is 10x, 2 times that is minus 6y, and 2 times that is large, but it's positive 74. Now, I draw a line. Now if I add or subtract down, what happens is, well, I get 19x here, and then I get, well, these two disappear, there's 0 y's. 6y, take away y. So I get 19x, that's gone, equals, well, that's 95. Well, you see, that's the whole point. We've eliminated the y. It's gone. So you need to multiply both lines. Sometimes you don't have to multiply both lines, you multiply one, or sometimes it cancels straight away. But you need this cancellation. That's called the elimination method, because we eliminate either x or y. So 19x is 95. So to get 1x, I need to divide by 19. And 1x is 5. 19 to 5. Use your calculator for that. Done? No. We need to find y as well. So now I have x. I'm going to take either one. Just going to use the second one. So I have either one of my equations. I'm going to replace x with 5. So instead of 5x, it's now 5 times 5. 5 times 5 is 25. So this is like solving a two-step equation now. I want to isolate y. So I subtract 25 from both sides in step 1. Gone. Great. So I get minus 3y is equal to 37 take away 25 is 12. Final step, divide by minus 3 both sides. Because I want to get rid of that minus 3. So y is then 12 divided by minus 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4. 12 divided by minus 3 is minus 4. So I have two answers. X is 5 and y is minus 4. So you should have two answers at the end of this. So remember the process for simultaneous equations. It's quite long. It'll be at the end of any exam. It's probably the last question because it's the hardest question. But once you get into a system, it should be one of the easier questions. Step 1, line up your two equations and figure out what you're going to multiply by. So in this case, I multiply by 3, the first one, and 2, the second one. So it lines up with something, subtracts and cancels, eliminates. If there's no minus, if they're both plus or they're both minus, they don't cancel. So you need one of them to be plus and the other one to be minus to cancel. Once you've done that, add downwards. So 9x, 10x give me 19. These two added gave me 95. So add downwards. You should be just left with x or y equal to a number. So whichever one you can eliminate x or y. It doesn't matter which one. Once you've found out what x or y is, replace it back into one of the original equations and then start solving that as a normal, probably two-step equation. So two-step, first step here was to subtract 25 from both sides. The second step was to divide by minus 3 both sides. Remember, we're solving equations, so you'll have to do some of these as well. you're trying to do the opposite thing to remove something. So if it's adding, you subtract. If it's subtracting, you add. If it's multiplying, you divide. And do the same to both sides so you don't change the equation. All right. Then final step then, make sure you've made what your answers are very clear so we can make sure you know what your answer is. All right. So for some reason the screen's gone super dark. Oh, there it is, gone bright again. Okay. Good luck with these algebra ones. If you need me to do anything else for algebra or number that come up, just send me an email and I'll try and do an extra video.